Okay, welcome everyone to our Sunday Dharma and Sutra talk. So we have studied up to the 6 vows. Please turn the Dharma wheel, which will be the topic for us tonight. And before we go into the Sutra discussion, I'll invite you to please join me and to recite or read the Sutra opening verse together. So you can join your hands to your heart center. Namo Fundamental Teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wondrous Dharma is difficult to encounter in hundreds of millions of kalpas. I now see and hear it, receive and uphold it. May we understand the true meaning of the Tathagata. Namo flower adornment assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Namo great practices Bodhisattva Samantabhadra. Namo Amitabha Buddha. Okay, so before we go into the Sutra discussion, I would like to make a quick announcement. So first of all, we will temporarily pause the weekly Wednesday Pure Land podcast. This is really due to my busy schedule in the temple. Life in the temple is actually crazily, insanely busy. It's different from how maybe a lot of people may perceive life in the temple, like really peaceful, tranquil, you don't have to do much. Well, one can be peaceful inside, but like actually there is a lot of work one has to do, particularly the Sangha. So maybe in the future, I'll share more about my life in the temple, and I need to recite all the 5 Pure Land Sutras and also other homework. So really a lot of homework and also a lot of physical work every day. So basically, I really don't have much time to share so much as I like to. And I think it's really maybe a better time for me to just immerse myself more deeply in the temple experience. And I really don't plan to hurry anything I do, including this, because I plan to do this for the rest of my life. So I don't really need to rush anything. But we'll still try to keep the weekly Sunday Sutra talk, and we may progress from this sutra and then to all the other Pure Land Sutras. So this is my current intention. And we may also have maybe just a monthly Pure Land podcast just after our 40 retreat. So we'll have this monthly Nianfo retreat starting on the 3rd week every month. And then maybe after that, we can have like just a monthly Pure Land podcast. But again, I can't sort of promise anything at this moment yet due to also impermanence. It also depends on my schedule. So if this is the case, we'll also announce it beforehand so people can know. And I think I actually maybe already answered and discussed already many questions and topics. And for those, if you still have questions about the Pure Land Dharma, etc., as we keep progressing through discussing the sutras, I trust that you will be able to find all your answers about the Pure Land Dharma, because the Buddha really had talked about all these sutras really in great details. So if we just study the sutras in great details, then a lot of the answers we have, about the Pure Land, about Amitabha Buddha, etc., you can all find in the sutras. Okay, so also a quick review, as we always do. So why do we need to do this review of all these previous vows? First of all, maybe there could be some new people that they have just come in today, or maybe on YouTube it's the first time that they saw this video. So maybe a quick overview would be good for them to know what's going on. And more importantly, actually, it's also for us to remind us, if we can't do this each week, the reminder, at least we do it each week. So this kind of practices and vows really get to sink in our mind. So it's not just a mere talk, not just mere theory, like we keep talking about, keep emphasizing. The essence of the Buddha Dharma actually really lies in our practice. Buddha Dharma is not mere theory. It's not even philosophy. Sometimes there are people calling like Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist teachings. It's like a kind of philosophy. It's actually not philosophy. Philosophy can just be mere talk, mere theory. But if you really want the Dharma to work in your life, you actually need to learn how to apply them. First of all, you need to understand them rightly. And then second of all, you actually need to try to embody them in your everyday life. Or otherwise you will think, why the Buddha's teaching doesn't work? Why I kneel for, I am still so afflicted. My life is getting worse. Why I recite the sutras, these mantras, they don't work. It's because you don't know how to apply your mind properly, and where to direct your thoughts, where to direct your mind, and where to direct your attention, your energy. So what's so precious about the great practices and vows of Bodhisattva Samantabhadra is that it really gives us actually quite a simple, like a life manual. I keep calling it the life manual or handbook, actually, direction, exactly how we should apply our mind, apply our thoughts in our everyday life. And I trust for those who have been following the series, you can find that these vows are actually really practical in our everyday life. So the first vow, remember to pay homage to all the Buddhas. And we don't just talk about those who have realized enlightenment like Shakyamuni Buddha, like Amitabha Buddha, but it's really to all the Buddhas in all the worlds, in the 10 directions of the 3 periods of time, past, present, and future. They'll also include all the future Buddhas, which really literally include all beings, because all beings have the same Buddha nature. So we must not look down at anybody, not to be in contempt at anybody, not disrespect anybody. Sometimes it can be really also difficult, challenging for us in our everyday life if we really see someone we really dislike. I just remember this vow. There is always a reason for us to actually be peaceful and to be at peace, to be happy in this moment. If you can remember and practice these great practices and vows, so just remember they still have the Buddha nature. If you can't respect this person, maybe because of what he said, what he does, like his behaviors, just also know that these phenomena are also temporary, right? What is permanent is actually their Buddha nature, right? The essence of this being, of all beings, is that we all share the same Buddha nature, right? We actually all come from the same source. If we can remember that, it can help us to greatly expand our mind, to expand our heart, and we will not be in so much duality or conflict with anybody, really. And you can be a really peaceful person in your life, in your family, in your workplace. Just remember to see the Buddha nature, to try to see the essence of all beings. Do not be attached to just a temporary phenomena, like how they may act now, what they may say now. Right? Remember, they are still the future Buddhas. It's just now they are drunk. Right? If you are awake, will you be bothered with someone who's drunk? Right? When people get drunk, they say all kinds of things. They do all kinds of silly things. But we know that they're just drunk. But when they become awake, they will also become Buddhas. So just remember this. And the second one is to praise the Tathagatas. If there is really nothing we think we can actually praise maybe someone in our life that we really hate or dislike, remember there is still the Buddha nature. Again, I always to see the essence of all beings. I transcend just the temporary phenomena. That's why Buddhas and Bodhisattvas will never give up any being. How they can generate this infinite compassion to all beings. Why Amitabha Buddha will even save those who commit even the worst possible deeds in the world. if they, at the time of death, happen to take the change of heart, they give rise to a sincere thought of repentance, Amitabha Buddha will still save them. Why? Can we comprehend this level of compassion? It's because Amitabha Buddha, he's not attached to phenomena. He can see the essence of who we all are, including us. We are all like ignorant, unenlightened beings, and we have also committed many bad deeds in this life and also past lives for sure. But Amitabha Buddha still would not give up on us, because Amitabha Buddha knows that we also have the potential. We are also the future Buddhas. So if we were to learn from the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, we really need to expand our heart, expand our mind, and try to see what the Buddhas are seeing. And maybe not completely like the Buddha's mind, because we're not there yet, but at least we should try to expand our mind and to be closer, to try to view from the angle, the perspective of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, that is to really appreciate, to acknowledge the Buddha nature in all beings. And in that way, you will not be in duality with anybody actually, and you can be at peace in your life, totally. Remember, all these vows did not teach us to how to fix others, how to change others. You cannot change others if you haven't sort of realized sometimes, people in relationships or all kinds of relationships, why we suffer so much is because we always try to change others. Right? It's really difficult to try to change other people because you're not in control of what others people's thoughts, actions, and speech. Right? We are actually not in control of other people's karma. But what we can actually be in control of, it's our own karma, it's our own body, speech, and mind. So we must learn to direct our mind properly. And that's what all these great practices and vows are teaching us, what the Buddha's teaching actually all about. If you read all these Buddhist sutras, Buddha keeps telling us how to actually direct our mind properly, because the mind is really literally everything. What you think, you becomes. If you are suffering, it's because of you, like a famous Buddhist quote you see everywhere on Instagram. Right? So other people, other situations only act as a mirror to try to reflect our own attachment, our own separation, our own ignorance. And if we know how to direct our mind properly and to act properly, you can definitely obtain peace in your life. Right? Our quality of life, our peace, our happiness does not depend on what other people may do or say. It entirely depends on how you think, given any situation. So remember, try to apply all these vows in your everyday life. So of course, if we respect them, we praise them, and we should also try to extensively cultivate making offerings to expand our heart, expand our mind. And this vow can also greatly help us overcome our selfishness, overcome attachment to possessions, attachment to the self. I remember the purpose of practicing Buddha Dharma is to realize enlightenment, right? Doesn't matter which Dharma gate, eventually we want to realize enlightenment, to realize the full Buddhahood. And how to realize enlightenment, if one were to realize at the stage of Arhat, like basic level of enlightenment in Mahayana Buddhism, you really need to have non-self, right? No attachment to the self. So through learning this and practicing this, we can greatly reduce, maybe not to completely eliminate, right, but greatly reduce our attachment to the illusion of self. And remember that we actually can't bring anything with us in this life. If there is anything we can bring, it's our karma. So we should try to be more smart, more intelligent, and to cultivate good, to make offerings extensively, to transform what we temporarily possess or own here into our great merit, a great karma. And this also adds to the provisions that we can bring with us to the Pure Land, and it can definitely increase our grade of rebirth, and you will definitely not regret it. And the fourth vow is to repent of karmic obstacles and reform. I remember this is not to tell us to keep dwelling in our past mistakes, but rather is really to face our mistakes with the right attitude and to have the courage actually to face ourselves, to face our mistakes, and also have the motivation to try our best and to improve each day. And when I say try our best, you don't need to compare with other people, right? Maybe you don't need to compare with a great Dharma master. They can do this maybe for 30,000 times a day. So we don't need to be like that. Right? When I say try our best, it's just within our sort of capacity, your current situation. So you try your best. You only just compare with yourself. Right? You don't need to compare with others. And also try to improve each day. And the fifth is to rejoice in the merit of others. This, again, very, very practical, can greatly reduce afflictions, right, such as jealousy. If we see other people, they are richer than us, rejoice in their merit. Remember, if people can enjoy great wealth in this life, abundant wealth, it's also due to the good deeds they have cultivated in the past. Maybe in the past, they practice a lot of giving, generosity. So in this life, they can enjoy good wealth. And we should not hold anger or resentment against that. Maybe we think, it's really bad. They get their money from illegal sources, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying this is good, but I'm just saying that actually, if you believe that the law of karma is really fair, then you know that regardless of what source the wealth may come from, for a particular person, if he can actually enjoy this wealth, it must be that he has done something well in the past. Maybe not in this lifetime, but in past lifetimes, from the last episode that you haven't seen. But again, how long he can actually keep his fortune also depends on his karma. So if anything, if we see other people, they're better than us in any way, richer, more beautiful, more handsome, more diligent, or whatever, more awakened, we should just rejoice in their merit. And by doing that, it also helps us to expand our mind. Right? All these are actually all helping us to activate our Buddha nature. Remember, our Buddha nature is boundless with no limitation. Sometimes people think it's such a vague concept, but what does Buddha nature mean? An easy way for us Pure Land practitioners to understand this is infinite light and life. When you can live your life, your mind becomes like infinite light and life, which is really our true essence, the true essence of who we all are. When you can live your life like this, in this state of mind, we talk about, people like to use the word frequency, like vibration. This is really like the highest level of vibration. Think about it. If someone can always, in every moment of his life, always think about infinite light and life, always embody this infinite light and life, then one has realized the Buddha nature. One has realized the true essence of the self, capital S, and not the egoistic self. That has to die in order for the true self to surface. So true nature of the mind, true nature of the heart, all this infinite light and life, which is also Amitabha Buddha. So all these great practices and vows are also helping us to activate our Buddha nature through expanding our mind, expanding our heart. Then you will no longer be confined by the past narrow-minded perceptions, all these thoughts of duality, attachment, greed, anger, and ignorance. We must learn how to upgrade our mindset if we want to upgrade the quality of our life. The quality of our life entirely depends on how you think and how you act, and how you behave in your everyday life. So next time, if we were to want to complain about others, and maybe that person made me suffer, blah, 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 I really just pause a moment. Or maybe we have already said it, we already complained, but after that, maybe because we have such a strong habitual tendency to like to blame other people, to blame external situations, I really take a moment to step back and reflect and think, oh, why do I need to think like this? Why can't I, maybe repent of my own karmic obstacles? Maybe in the past, I treated this person poorly. And then again, this person takes revenge in this life. Or maybe I just rejoice in the merit of others, if they are much richer than me. So just try to really direct our thoughts, direct our mind to create this positive energy, positive thoughts in your mind, then your life will definitely become much better. And remember, do not just attach to temporary phenomena. By temporary phenomena, I mean, how other people may act, what they say, etc. This is because they are drunk. I drunk Buddha. So do not be attached to that. Try to really see the Buddha nature in all beings, even including animals. When I say all beings, not only human beings, I extend our mind to see the Buddha nature in all beings, in all things. Really see this essence, and instantly your mind will be elevated, and you will no longer just be so bothered by just phenomena, by little things, like petty things in your life. Okay, so this really needs constant reminder. And if we can't do this every day, we should actually really do this every day. Maybe before you go to bed every night, again, reflect your own speech, your mind, your act, like throughout the day, body, speech, and mind, and see maybe where you have done maybe not so right, where you could have done better, where you may not really try to follow these great practices and vows. So really, if we can follow this, you will be more and more closer towards full awakening. Awaken is actually a big word, it's like saying enlightened. It's still very difficult actually for us, most of us, but at least we can be closer to how an enlightened being think or act. So this should really be our goal. And don't worry, actually, for us, we will go to the Pure Land to realize enlightenment if we can't actually realize enlightenment in this lifetime. Very difficult, but however, we should still try to learn from the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and to try to live a happy and peaceful life while we are here temporarily on earth. Right? It's actually important for a Buddhist to be happy and be peaceful. So if you can have this kind of, like people say, vibration, right? If the energy, the vibration you give to others is like this, very calming and peaceful, then they may want to know, what's your secret? How can you be so at peace? How can you be so happy all the time? How can you not seem to be bothered by anything? So if you can send out this calming vibration, and then you can tell them, it's because I study Buddhism, I'm a Buddhist, because I am also practicing the great practices and vows of Bodhisattva Samantabhadra, and because I Nianfo, etc. Then it's a great way for us to spread the Dharma. We Buddhists must try to really embody this, maybe not fully, but at least like 10%, 20% will already be very, very good if any of us can do this. And then we can really be at peace in most moments in our life. This will be really, really good. Then it means that you actually know how to apply the Buddha Dharma properly in your life. As we keep studying the sutras, how we know that it's actually effective in our life is actually we become much more joyous in our everyday life, less afflictions, more joyous. So it's important. Then you know that you're actually on the right direction. If not, if you're maybe not like that, if you feel even more angry with what's going on in the world, more resentment towards everybody, etc., then you have not really applied the Buddha Dharma properly in your life. Maybe you do not have a good Dharma teacher to guide you properly. So it's actually very important for us to not only just study this in theory, but also try to apply them in our everyday life, to try to direct our mind towards the right direction, to reduce our afflictions. Okay, So today we're going to talk about the 6 vows. Please turn the Dharma wheel. So if you see other translations, they may say to request the turning of the Dharma wheel. So I just change a little bit because I think it's actually more proper from the Chinese. 请转法轮. So it's like, please turn the Dharma wheel. So let's look at the sutra first. From the sutra, moreover, good men, to ask to turn the Dharma wheel is explained like this. Throughout the entire Dharma realm and the realm of empty space, all the Buddha lands lie the fine motes of dust in the 10 directions and 3 periods of time. Within each and every land, in thought after thought, there are all the Buddhas as numerous as ineffably ineffable fine motes of dust of all the Buddha lands. Realize the equal and right enlightenment. All the ocean-like assemblies of bodhisattvas are surrounding them. I adopt all skillful means with the karma of body, speech, and mind, earnestly persuade and ask them to turn the wonderful Dharma wheel. Okay, so Bodhisattva Samantabhadra is saying, telling Trial Siddhana, also a Bodhisattva, a Buddha to be, to explain this vow. It's actually really simple, really straightforward. It's just at the beginning, this sentence can be quite long. So let's break it a little bit. So throughout the entire Dharma realm, again, this we see in each paragraph. This is like a common language, common phrases, common words in great Mahayana sutras, such as the Avatamsaka Sutra. Because the Avatamsaka Sutra is really talking about the state of a Buddha, what's full Buddhahood like? It's really talking about this inconceivable state of liberation of the Buddha. So that's why I talk about the Buddha nature is boundless, absolutely boundless, without any constraint. And that is actually the truth of the universe. Does the universe have boundary? Actually, no. It's just we currently can only see the observable universe. Scientists, they also keep discovering that they think the universe keeps expanding, but it's actually not so much like that. It's because the essence of the universe actually have no end, infinite, boundless, like the Buddha nature. This is really the truth of life and the universe. And the Buddha already knew that. And that's the state of the Buddha. They know absolutely all this, the truth of life and the universe. So when we realize Buddhahood, it means that we become completely awakened. Awakened to what? Awakened to the truth of life and the universe. So throughout the entire Dharma realm, which means entire existence, all these worlds, all the cosmos, everything, absolutely everything. And the realm of empty space. When we talk about empty space in the Buddhist sutras, maybe for us, we think, oh, it's the skies, it's like the empty space. What we know as empty space in our sort of a narrow-minded perception is not even like a fine mote of dust. When we really talk about it in the scale of the Avatamsaka Sutra, the empty space, also like the entire Dharma realm, which is actually boundless. And people talk about, parallel universes. There are actually infinite parallel universes, infinite worlds. The sutras really talk about this a lot in Mahayana sutras. I hope, more scientists, they can actually study the Mahayana sutras. In China, there are actually top physicists, top scientists, really noble scientists who are even nominee of the Nobel Prize. These people, they are actually Pure Land Buddhists, extremely devout Mahayana Buddhist and Pure Land Buddhist. Right? So Buddha Dharma is really the highest science. And I hope most scientists, they can turn their mind into the Mahayana Sutras. Unfortunately, Mahayana Sutras, they're not discussed so often. You may see translations of them online, but because of the difficulty in them, if there is no one, turn the Dharma wheel, which is related to what we're going to talk about tonight. If there's no one actually turn the Dharma wheel and explain this, then people won't get it. So even if the sutras are translated into English, If we actually don't go and talk about them, to discuss them, people will not understand it and people will not even care to study them. And so that's why it's actually really, really important, particularly in this Dharma ending age. We need actually more people to turn the Dharma wheel. Turn the Dharma wheel literally means to expose the Dharma. And again, keep coming back to the Sutra. So all the Buddha lands like the 5 modes of dust in the 10 directions and 3 periods of time. Again, you know, Shakyamuni Buddha, all this Buddha knows that Buddha lands, all these worlds are like the 5 modes of dust. And when we talk about the Avatamsaka Sutra, it's always about the 10 directions, which means everywhere, right? North, south, east, west, northeast, northwest, you know, all these directions, and 3 periods of time, again, past, present, and future. When one is at the level of the Buddha, one transcends time and space. You are actually the entire Dharma realm. Your Dharma body, we actually all share this same Dharma body with all the Buddhas in the 10 directions and 3 periods of time, like all beings. So within each and every land, in thought after thought, I see this, there are all the Buddhas as numerous as ineffably ineffable. It's ineffable. It cannot even speak of like how many words there are. 5 modes of dust of all the Buddha lands realize the equal and right enlightenment. So this actually kind of bring comfort to us, is that there are really also just as ineffably ineffable unenlightened beings in all the worlds in the 10 directions. There are also enlightened beings as numerous as ineffably ineffable 5 modes of dust of all the Buddha lands. So there are actually infinite Buddhas as well in this infinite worlds, infinite universes. This actually talk about in great details in Avatamsaka Sutra. If you open just the first chapter of the Avatamsaka Sutra, so many pages of all these different names of the Buddhas. And then we may like, you know, how can we only know a few, right? We only know Shakyamuni Buddha in this world because each Buddha has their pure land, each Buddha has their teaching range. So in our world, at this period of time, it's the time of Shakyamuni Buddha. So that's why we don't actually hear so many Buddhas unless we actually study the Mahayana Sutras. So all these Buddhas, they have realized equal and right enlightenment, which also means the unsurpassed enlightenment, Anuttaya Sanya Sambodhi, by the ultimate enlightenment. And all the ocean-like assemblies of bodhisattvas are surrounding them. So in any world, if there is a Buddha, there are gonna be, you know, also lots of bodhisattvas. Like we see Shakyamuni Buddha is in our world. There are also Manjusri Bodhisattva, Samantabhadra Bodhisattva, Guanyin Bodhisattva, actually ocean-like assemblies of bodhisattvas, also numerous as 5 modes of dust of bodhisattvas surrounding them. So I adopt all skillful means with the karma of body, speech, and mind, earnestly persuade and ask them to turn the wonderful Dharma wheel. The Bodhisattva Samantabhadra is saying, like, he will adopt all kinds of skillful means to earnestly persuade and to ask all these Buddhas to turn the wonderful Dharma wheel. And this is also what we should learn from Bodhisattva Samantabhadra. So the sutra itself is actually quite straightforward. The key is, again, to ask all the Buddhas to turn the Dharma wheel. And why is the Dharma wheel? Why is it wheel? So this is actually a metaphor in Buddhism. So originally it refers to the treasure of wheel by Chakravartin. So Chakravartin is like a world ruler. And now in our world, we don't really have a Chakravartin. A Chakravartin can rule like the Saha world, like all these different worlds. So he has incredibly great blessings. And he has this wheel. This wheel has great power, a lot of functions. It's capable of doing many things. And also wheel, it's round, right? So the shape of a wheel means that it's perfect and complete, just like the Buddha Dharma. Right? It can eliminate all afflictions if one applies properly. So also the wheel keeps turning, keeps going. So it's also like the Buddha Dharma. If we were to actually share this Buddha's teaching, it's like turning a wheel. So it's really actually a very vivid, a very good metaphor. Imagine this wheel rolling. in order for Buddha Dharma to exist in this world, there also need to be many people actually turning the Dharma wheel, right, from generation to generation. So there's this momentum and also motivation. So exporting the Dharma also means to turn the Dharma wheel. Right? Turning the Dharma wheel literally means to export the Dharma, to share the Buddha Dharma. So of course, why we should actually share the Buddha Dharma? What's so special about the Buddha Dharma? Why don't we go and share, philosophy or other things? Of course, there are also people sharing that, but I'm saying why we need to actually really emphasize about the importance of the Buddha Dharma. What is so special about Buddha's teaching that actually distinguish it from all other conventional wisdom? Now, what's so special about the Buddha Dharma that make it stand out? I make all of us actually, sort of crazy about it. At least I'm crazy about it. I crave it a lot. I love it so much. I'm attached to it. So what is so special, right? What's the magic of the Buddha Dharma that really make it stand out from all this just maybe conventional literature or conventional knowledge, conventional wisdom? Right? This also includes psychology or philosophy, all this kind of conventional people would call this as, wisdom, right? A type of wisdom. But Buddha Dharma actually transcend all of them. Right? Why? Because there is only the Dharma can help us exit the cycle of reincarnation. There's nothing else, absolutely nothing else in this world, apart from the Buddha Dharma, that can actually help us realize the ultimate potential of who we truly are, the true essence, the true self. There's really absolutely nothing else can help us exit the cycle of reincarnation, but for the Buddha Dharma. There are also maybe other practices that claim they can maybe transcend the cycle of reincarnation. But remember, the Buddha actually came down and then showed that actually, you're doing wrongly. Your intention is good, but the method you apply is actually not good. I remember the Buddha's two great teachers were two great yogis in India at that time. For people who practice yoga, which I also practiced before, they also have this goal of samadhi, right? They also want to exit the cycle of reincarnation. They also believe in that, like the Hindu tradition. But the Buddha already showed that actually, the way you were doing, so at least at that time, there were a lot of ascetic. And for them, what is the state of samadhi like? It means that there's no thought. Right? Absolutely, you don't think of anything, like a storm. And the Buddha said, actually, this is wrong. To be attached to non-thought, to be attached to non-doing is actually a serious form of attachment. And for those people, where do they go? They go to the highest level of the heaven, the formless realm. So they have not actually transcended the cycle of reincarnation there. That's why the Buddha came down to this world. If the Buddha Dharma were just about, to cultivate good, to refrain from evil, to how to adjust our mindset or attitude, like some of the motivation quotes, etc. If the Buddha Dharma is only about that, then we don't need Buddha Dharma in this world. The Buddha has no need to come to this world. Shakyamuni Buddha has no need to bother himself to come to this world if the Buddha Dharma were just like that. But what is so special and unique about the Dharma is that it's really the only way, I need to stress this, the only way to help us exit the cycle of reincarnation. But for the existence of the Buddha Dharma, but for people, great Dharma masters from generations to generations, different teachers actually turning the Dharma wheel, but for we actually have these great blessings and karma to encounter the Buddha's teaching, there's no chance, absolutely no chance for us to exit the cycle of reincarnation. Particularly during the Dharma ending age. What's the only method, actually almost like the only method for us to to transcend the cycle of reincarnation is actually the Pure Land Dharma, where you don't need to first realize enlightenment for you to exit the cycle of reincarnation. Because Amitabha Buddha actually made great vows and they were actually all realized, because he realized the full Buddhahood. So all the vows he made were actually all came true. But for Amitabha Buddha's great compassionate vows and power to receive us to the Pure Land, we actually cannot rely on our own petty self-effort, petty cultivation to exit the cycle of reincarnation and to realize Buddhahood. So can we see how this is so rare? It is really the unsurpassed, and it's also subtle, right? Subtle in that Buddha Dharma can be also not so easy to understand. Right? People can misunderstand a lot of these concepts like, emptiness, etc. Right? If no one actually explains it properly. And it's really difficult to encounter in hundreds of millions of kalpas. It's not an exaggeration. The time for the Buddhas, the three jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha to exist in the world is actually very short. Right? The metaphor from the Buddha Sutra is really like this very rare flower that only opens once in a while. But that is really how short a time the Buddha will actually come to the world. Right? Remember the Dharma ending age, we have about maybe 10,000 years left. Then there will no longer be any Buddha sutras. No one will actually turn the Dharma wheel like what we are doing now, because there's no more sutras. What's left will only be just Amitabha Buddha, Amitofo. If anyone can hear this and believe it instantly, then this person can also be saved. But it will be more difficult after all the sutras exist, for anybody to encounter the Dharma. And then it will only be after, maybe 6-7 billion years for Maitreya Bodhisattva to come down to realize Buddhahood. So can we see there's actually a long, long time, billions of years, where the Dharma will actually not be in this world, right? Where all these beings, they will not actually have the chance to exit the cycle of reincarnation. You may ask, why the Buddha don't keep all the sutras in the world? Why they don't come back to keep talking about it? Because at that time, people will be so much drowned in desire and attachment. Even if a Buddha is in front of them, they will not care. They will not care to study. Already we see that in the Dharma ending age. People are so much more interested in those dancing videos on TikTok rather than to study the Dharma, right? It's also understandable, just given the environment that we are living in, right? Or just technology, this quick entertainment that really make people keep craving for instant gratification of instant desire, like instant satisfaction of many things, instant fast food, instant everything. So people actually do not have the patience and also not so much good roots and wisdom to actually want to be awakened. Right? They don't even know what this means, and let alone to study something so profound like the Buddha Dharma. So that's why after that time, after 10,000 years, so we don't need to worry so much yet. We still got 10,000 years. And for us, we may only have, just, 60, 70 years left on Earth or less, right? So we don't need to worry. We are actually the lucky ones. So after that, the Buddhas, they will not come. They may still come to adopt skillful means to try to help people, maybe just to hear the name of Amitabha Buddha, and that's it. It's not actually useful for them to share the Dharma, to expound the sutras like that. But now we are sort of like the beginning of the Dharma ending age, so we should still, keep talking about the sutras. I keep studying the sutras. There will still be a limited number of people here on Earth with good roots. Those who have turned to my YouTube channel, congratulations, definitely have good roots for you to actually encounter the Pure Land Dharma and to believe it, and also to want to study it. This is really incredible. You have really literally win the lottery of samsara, not an exaggeration, not a joke, right? For you to actually encounter the Pure Land Dharma in this life, for you to actually generate faith, to nianfo and vow to seek rebirth. You are the luckiest person on earth and the richest person in the Dharma realm, actually. When we go to Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land, we are actually all the richest being here in the Dharma realm. Like, you don't need to be jealous of people like Elon Musk and all those names on the Forbes list, because we are actually much richer than them. Like, their wealth, they can only keep very temporarily on earth. Right? There's an expiration date for everything here. But for us, We have infinite light and life. We have infinite blessings, infinite abundant wealth. We are actually the richest being in the entire Dharma realm. For anyone who can realize Buddhahood, realize the ultimate potential of a human being, you are the richest being in the entire Dharma realm, in the boundless cosmos and universes. And can you imagine this? We cannot really imagine just this inconceivable infinite benefit of realizing Buddhahood. And that's why it's so important for us to ask the Buddha to turn the Dharma wheel. Okay, but Shakyamuni Buddha, we don't know where he is. I can't find him. We missed the time when he was here on earth. So what to do? We can ask all the Buddhas of the 3 periods of time, right? See here, 3 periods of time. So 10 directions, 3 periods of time. So we also ask all the future Buddhas, and that includes all of us, to turn the Dharma wheel. Because we know that this is such a great treasure. We have found the treasure. It's also within us. We have sort of known the secret of life and the universe. Of course, we want to share it with others in all kinds of ways. And sometimes people post on social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatever they eat today, it's so yummy, etc. This really shows that we actually have a bit of a passion to share our interests, to share what we like. If we think, oh, a restaurant is so good, I'll recommend to my friend. This food is so good, I'll try to teach my friend how to make this. So if we bother to share things like that, why can't we share what we know is actually the most treasurable thing in the world, actually? Why can't we share the Buddha Dharma? And then you may be like, but I don't know so much. I'm worried I'm making mistakes, etc. So when I say sharing the Buddha Dharma, I don't mean that you need to be like what I'm doing, to share the sutras properly, like this sort of kind of formal lecture. What you can do in your own ways, maybe in all kinds of skillful means, skillful ways, just to tell your friend, this great meditation that can help you obtain peace of mind, which is nearful. You just like a mantra, you recite the name of Amitabha Buddha, which means infinite light and life, and then you can obtain peace of mind. And then also, from here and there, sort of tell them just really quickly, if you worry they don't believe, I just tell them. And the Buddha told us that if you're nearful, you can actually go to Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land. So we can actually use our own way, our own language that's suitable for our environment to share the Dharma in a simple way, in all kinds of ways. If you're good at making music, then you share the Dharma music, like what Amitabha is doing. All these great Dharma musicians, I really rejoice in their merit. People really like music, dancing, all this nowadays. So you can also do that if you have this gift and talent, whatever that we know of. Or if you're good at writing articles, write about the Dharma. Why bother writing about afflictions, which may just generate more afflictions and maybe more negative energy in the world? Why not direct this energy to write about the Dharma? If you're good at speaking, speak about the Dharma, speak about meditation to your friend. We must really have this willingness to share. Maybe we don't have much capacity yet, ability or knowledge to actually share this properly. Maybe you may be worried about making mistakes. What you can do in that case is that maybe you think some other people, they share it really well, and you can just share their videos on your social media, maybe, or help them translate some videos, etc. So I also really are grateful for members of our Lotus family to help translate some of my videos. And also, we have this weekly newsletter of also other Lotus family contribute in writing articles in all kinds of ways. So really rejoicing all of your merit to turn the Dharma wheel. This is also called the turning the Dharma wheel. It doesn't mean that you need to be, so proper and qualified. Actually, we are not qualified. We are not a Buddha, so we are not qualified. But we can still, just within our limited ability, our limited knowledge, to share the Buddha Dharma in our own ways. And then we may make mistakes. It's actually common. Actually, to be honest, out of all the Pure Land books I have read, those have been published. Most of them I have sort of read quickly. I can spot mistakes. And also Lotus family, Jiawen's books also have a lot of mistakes. This is actually understandable, right? As beginners on the path, also because if you are not studying properly under the guidance of a Dharma teacher, and maybe you have not actually understand fully the Dharma, it's normal actually to make mistakes. And also, I'm not saying what I'm saying it's all right or perfect. I definitely not, right? I also knew that in some videos I actually made mistakes, and not intentionally, unintentionally, and I'll fix them. As soon as I realized, I found out, I'll fix my mistakes. So this is also how we can share the Dharma, to adopt the attitude of a student. Right? We are actually all students on the path. So it's normal that, sometimes what we say may be not completely correct. And once we realize that, we can also quickly fix that. If we were actually to wait for us to all become Buddhas to talk about the Dharma, then maybe no one on earth will actually share the Dharma. Maybe no one will actually encounter the Dharma. So the reason why I decided to do this YouTube channel was also because when I searched on YouTube, when I just sort of found this, the greatest treasure in the world, which is really also the Pure Land Dharma, I realized there's just so little information that's available in English, almost non-existent. When I tried to type Pure Land Buddhism on YouTube at that time, only you will find maybe like 5-6 videos of people talking just a little bit about the Buddha Dharma. And that really surprised me. It really shocked me. How come that this is such a wonderful thing to talk about? And particularly for beings in the Dharma ending age, we really need, particularly the Pure Land Dharma, to be spread widely in all kinds of ways, in all kinds of languages, really. So just anyone, if you can share the Pure Land Dharma in your own language, in your own ways. We also have Indian Dharma brother want to share, translate sutras, writing commentary, great, just do it. We really need more materials to be available so more people have the chance to encounter it. I can only speak English. Of course, I can't reach maybe someone in India who only speaks Tamil, right? So we need people from all kinds of backgrounds, languages to really share the Dharma. And we have certain kind of people that we have karmic connections with in this world. So each of us, we all have a different karmic connection with different people. If you are from Italy, you should really try to share this in your own language, and then you reach the Italian audience, and someone in Spain, Spanish in Latin America. So this is how we can actually get the Dharma to spread quickly in a way. And nowadays, the good thing about technology is that it can be a double-edged sword, right? It depends on how we use it. It's also emptiness in nature, and neither good nor bad. It just depends on how we actually use it. If we were to use technology, we should really try to spread positive energy. We should try to share wisdom. Instead of sharing negative energy, sharing all those BS, actually don't help inspire others, don't help make the world in a better place, which actually maybe makes up 90% or even like 95%. I'm reluctant to say 99%. I think there is still a bit of hope in the world, right? Which makes up, unfortunately, majority of the news and medias in this world are actually negative energy, separation, all this information that only helps, if anything, to generate more afflictions in people's mind. So if we don't share this, then we're going to be influenced by them. So if we don't choose to share positive energy, then when we scroll, I don't know, Facebook, social media, which I actually don't do that. I only share, and I don't look at what other people say or share. So if we don't share what we consider as actually, good and beneficial to the world, then we can only be subject to the influence of all this negative energy in the world. So can we see actually how important it is for us, everyone, to contribute however little we can in our everyday life? And online nowadays, everything is online. So we all have social media. We can all actually contribute in however little we can. We cannot maybe influence the whole world, but can we at least influence just some people around us, that those we are friends with on Facebook? Can we at least just influence maybe our family members in some kinds of ways? And then you say, oh, but you know, they don't believe in the Buddha Dharma, etc., which is common. Even my mother, I still not so much a believer, but I don't try to sort of like I force this on her, but rather I tell share more about meditation, how to obtain peace of mind. So there are really different approach and angles that we can share the Buddha Dharma. We don't need to be like, oh, you know, just kneel for and seek rebirth to the Pure Land, which a lot of people may give you like this weird look, right? But we can do it step by step. I first tell them about kneel for. At least they have heard the name of Amitabha Buddha, and the seed is planted. And who knows, in the future, the seed may become mature, and they will immediately believe. We never know how much good roots they may have planted in their past life, so we shouldn't judge. Like Siddhagarbha Sutra told us, those people with good roots, they will instantly believe the Buddha Dharma, also believe the Pure Land Dharma. And then there are also other types of people that they don't have so much good root, but they have sort of average good roots. And what happens is that maybe they don't believe at the beginning. The more they listen to that, and then the more they find, it's actually, you know, quite reasonable what the Buddha is talking about, which could be a lot of us. And maybe we don't actually instantly believe in the Buddha's words. At least for me, I actually, you know, sort of doubted the Buddha's words greatly when I was, you know, younger in my 20s. And I really sort of tried to against, like all my behaviors would really try to against the Buddha's teaching in a way. I even slandered the Dharma. So I'm also doing this as a way of repentance. And really, you know, from my own experience, I realized, oh, wow, if you really want to avoid sufferings in your life, you actually need to follow the Buddha's teaching. This could be actually for a lot of us. Maybe we don't just instantly believe. There are also some people that instantly believe, very, very good roots. But for most people, they just have to sort of keep suffering in their life until one day they, you know, actually believe. And then for those people, maybe no matter what you say, they just don't believe. But maybe at the time of death, they chose to believe because maybe they have no other choice and nothing to hold on to. And then all of a sudden they remember Amitofo, or they encounter Amitofo. So our job, our duty in the world is just try to plant the seed as widely as we can. We don't need to worry about whether people believe, not believe, accept, not accept. Right? It's not up to us. It depends on their karma, blessings, and good roots, which we don't know actually. We have not seen their past lives. We don't have the supernatural ability to know who actually has good roots, who actually don't. So our job is simply just to plant the seed of Amitabha Buddha, of the Buddha's teaching in all kinds of ways, as widely as possible. Yeah, share with others in all kinds of ways. And if we read all these Buddha sutras, you will always see in the end, the Buddha always encourage people to share. The Buddha will also tell us, you know, what kind of great merit one will obtain is actually infinite merit, like ineffable merit one will attain by sharing the Dharma, which, you know, after the 10 great vows, I'll also do an extra session on the practices and vows of Bodhisattva Samantabhadra about exactly what the sutra said, like this sutra, what the Buddha said, if someone actually exposed this Dharma, the practices and vows of Bodhisattva Samantabhadra to others, what kind of a sort of benefit and merit that one would get. I also want to encourage more of you to share this. If you have heard something that you think is actually useful for you, then share it with your friend, share it with your family. You don't need to actually frame it in the word of, you know, from the Buddha Sutra, the Buddha says this, but you can just use your own words, own ways, but apply the Buddha's wisdom and then tell your friends if you think they may have this sort of resentment against Buddhism because they misunderstand what Buddhism actually means. The essence of Buddhism is not a religion, rather it's really a way to help us to be awakened, to be free from all sufferings, to awaken to the truth of life and the universe. So this, a lot of people may not be aware. And remember, the third vow, to extensively cultivate making offerings, the Buddha taught us that to share the Dharma is actually the best offering out of all, the best gift you can give to anybody. So we must try to do this. Okay, I'm just gonna go a little bit over time because I feel it's actually important. So the question is that, a question I pose to all of you maybe, why actually the Buddha need reminder from Bodhisattva Samantabhadra or from other Bodhisattvas to turn the Dharma wheel? Okay. If we don't request or ask the Buddha to turn the Dharma wheel, will the Buddha not turn the Dharma wheel? Of course not. As a fully enlightened being, I remember after Shakyamuni Buddha realized enlightenment, he kept turning the Dharma wheel tirelessly, without a rest even for one day. So even if no one request or ask the Buddha to turn the Dharma wheel, the Buddha will still do it. It's the Buddha's duty. Actually, it should be the duty of all Buddhists. And then why we need to ask, why we need to learn from the Bodhisattva Samantabhadra, to ask the Buddha or to ask any teacher or anybody, including even ourselves, to turn the Dharma wheel. Because we also want to be awakened. Because we need to be awakened. We need this Buddha Dharma to be awakened, to live a happy life. I already talked about this already, I think, more than enough. Because we want to realize Buddhahood, because we want to realize infinite light and life, because we want to realize the ultimate potential of a human being, and because we want to live the most meaningful life. What is actually the most meaningful life? It's actually to practice the Dharma. And for us, to practice the Pure Land Dharma, to go to the Pure Land. This will make your life really, really meaningful. You can be like, oh, but being meaningful is quite subjective, right? I can live a meaningful life by, I don't know, being a chef, doing other things, like maybe reading books. But like all this, remember, temporary phenomena, right? When you die, maybe you are a famous author, you accumulated so much reputation, so many books. All this actually mean nothing when you are on your deathbed. What can you actually bring with you in this life? We must need to contemplate this. And then you will know actually what's the most important thing for you in this life. And what's the most meaningful life a human being can live. It's actually to realize Buddhahood. Again, this is very difficult, a difficult goal, but thank God, thank Buddha, thank Amitabha Buddha, we can have the privilege to go to Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land and to do it there. So we are really so fortunate, and we must not take this life for granted. We must not waste our time and energy here and to take it for granted. If we encounter like the greatest treasure for us in the world, it's really our duty, all Buddhist duty, particularly Pure Land Buddhists. We really, I feel, I carry this duty, obligation, and mission to share this Dharma, to turn the Dharma wheel in whatever ways we can, suitable ways also to our environment. And we must have the willingness to share the Dharma. This is what we call to generate bodhicitta. And what's bodhicitta? To have the mind to realize Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. And how can you help all sentient beings but for expounding the Dharma, right? So we must have the willingness to share the Dharma. This is a reflection of your bodhicitta. And if you are on the Mahayana path, you should really try to generate the bodhicitta so you can help people to be awakened. And through this process, you will also be awakened. And if you can help even just one person to go to the Pure Land with you, if you can just bring one extra person to be on the boat of Amitabha Buddha, this carries infinite merit. You already actually saved infinite beings. Why? Because you are helping someone to realize their full potential. When they realize, when they become a Buddha, they're gonna help all the beings in the 10 directions. So through just even helping one person in this world to go to the Pure Land, infinite merit already. And of course, the more the merrier. If we can help, 10, 100, 1,000, the more the merrier. So if no one turns the Dharma wheel, no one knows about the Dharma. So we must also need to let go of our worries, our sort of limitations, I'm not good enough, I don't know much, I can't share. If you think you really don't know what to say, like you share what others say. Like what you share, maybe those actually inspire you. So through that, you are also contributing the way to turn the Dharma wheel. You are actually also turning the Dharma wheel, right? Through even just sharing other people's materials. This is also great. Thumbs up for that. So homework. I never give you any homework, but just like this time, I really try to share the Dharma with others in this week. And maybe, all the future weeks if you can, every day if you can. So in all kinds of ways, again, when I say share the Dharma, I don't mean that you need to go through sutras, all this theory, and you don't have to do that. Just however simple way you can do, in your own way. Even drawing, even singing, chanting is also a form of singing. Making music, it's also, if you're making Dharma music, or having a quick conversation with anybody. So try to do this. Try to make this like a habit in your life. Again, the concluding paragraph. So it is when the realm of empty space is exhausted, the realms of living beings are exhausted, the karma of living beings is exhausted, and the afflictions of living beings are exhausted. My constant, earnest persuasion of all the Buddhas to turn the right Dharma wheel will be inexhaustible. It continues in thought after thought without ceasing. The karma of my body, speech, and mind, never weary of this. So can we see, this is really the spirit of a true Bodhisattva, always, constantly, trying to ask all the Buddhas, and including actually the Bodhisattvas will also constantly turn the Dharma wheel. Make it like a constant habit in our life. Try to remind us what's the most important thing in our life. And if we have found the greatest treasure, we should try to share it with others. Sometimes people, they are shy about even saying they are Buddhist. Maybe they are worried that people may misunderstand them, etc. But we are not shy to share about, other maybe sort of mundane things in our life. This also shows that maybe you don't actually from your heart have the full faith, complete faith in the Buddha Dharma. If we're talking about sincere faith, if you truly believe the Buddha Dharma is really so unsurpassed, profound, that is so incredible, then you should really have no shame, no shy to share about it. Yes, so that is really the spirit of turning the Dharma wheel, and we should try to learn from the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Actually, to share the Dharma is the duty of all Buddhists, particularly for Mahayana Buddhists. If you are on the Bodhisattva path, which the key is to generate bodhicitta. And how do we know whether we have generated a bodhicitta? It's whether we have the willingness to share the Dharma. We're not even talking about our ability, our capacity, regardless of our ability, capacity, or even the level of knowledge, but it's just your willingness. Do you have the mind, the heart that you want to share the Dharma? That's it. If you do, maybe you don't know many people, only one person you know in your life. Maybe at least we know a few, right? Let's say that. You can only influence these few people, already good enough. If you have just this willingness to share the Dharma, when you go to the Pure Land, you are on the highest grade of rebirth. This we will see really clearly when we study the 9 grades of rebirth. For those who attain the highest grade of rebirth, what distinguishes for those beings in the highest grade to those in the middle grade, lowest grade, are those beings in the highest grade, they have generated bodhicitta. For the lowest level of the highest grade, they have generated bodhicitta, except maybe just they have this willingness, let's say. Maybe they don't have such great capacity or ability, and also great cultivation, actually, like those beings on the middle level of the highest grade or the highest level of the highest grade. So when we talk about bodhicitta, also different levels of bodhicitta, right? But at least if you can just have the willingness to share the Dharma, your rebirth is first of all guaranteed. And second of all, is that you will be on the highest grade of rebirth. So really infinite merit for us to share the Buddha Dharma. And I actually also, beg all of you, I also request, I ask, I sincerely, earnestly, that all the beings who are actually hearing this now, maybe on YouTube or here, I really try to turn the Dharma wheel, share the Dharma with as many people as you know in your life. And you can do this really easily on social media, on whatsoever tools online these days. Okay, so that concludes my talk today, and let's do the merit transfer. So if you can join your hands to your heart center. May the resulting merit and virtue be distributed everywhere without discrimination. May we all generate the unsurpassed bodhicitta and be born in the land of peace and bliss. So thank you everyone for coming, and rejoice in all of your merit, and hope all of you can all find ways in your life to share the Dharma. So thank you, Amitabha.